for 2 hours in the DMV.
It's an impressive Mentos if it lasts for 2 hours.
You're right. This changes everything. Anyway, so welcome. There were either any holdover questions from our Critical Role panel last night that you wanted to ask that didn't have a chance to happen. Now will be your opportunity to bring those to the front microphone, or any other questions in general about the voice acting industry, about, I don't know, bowling ball etiquette, in which case you're at the wrong panel, but sure. Yeah, just go ahead and line up here at the microphone and we'll go ahead and we'll start taking this into the Q&A portion of the morning's panel.
Emphasis on morning.
Yes.
Morning.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well.
Yay. Good morning.
I don't actually have a question. I talked to you for a second after the panel. I was the one whose fiance is related to Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yes.
She's actually waiting in the line for the signing for me because she's the best person in the world.
Oh.
But I was just wondering, you know, if you want to maybe give me something to get him in touch with you or something at some point.
Yes. Please.
Is that signing? Or?
Yes, it's a signing. That would be awesome.
We're huge fanboys of Lynn's.
She actually had tickets before it was on Broadway, and she's like, "I'll see you later, Mom. You know, it's just another one of Lynn's plays."
Oops. Oh.
Wow. She'll remember that on her deathbed.
That's amazing. No, we will definitely take you up on that offer and exploit your connection shamelessly. That's awesome, thank you. We'll talk about it.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
So my question is,
Yes.
like your mother used to like, if you were to make a game, you have infinite money, you can make whatever game you want. What would you make, and would you be voice actors in it?
Oh, interesting.
Whoa. Any game?
Any video game, new system, idea, what would you do?
Oh man. Virtual reality. Like, you know, you want to create something original,
No.
but at the same time, there's so many great games that we'd like to see remade with an infinite budget.
Oh.
Because there's that aspect too. So it's like, do I go nostalgia or do I go, you know, my own path? That's already in itself like a serious question. Because half of me is like, well, we could all use a, you know, PS4 level Chrono Trigger remake, right? Because then, I mean, someone who's the voice maggots.
Yeah.
To answer your second question. Man. Or like
That's a tough one.
like a remake of the original Maniac Mansion.
Oh my god, yeah, that would actually be awesome.
I would
The
love
NES
that.
Maniac Mansion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did Tentacle as well, but
Yeah.
that one is a little more passable as far as like expected modern day graphics and storytelling. But like, if you haven't played the original like LucasArts Maniac Mansion, yeah, it kickstarted a lot of fun genre games thereafter. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's true. There was like a bunch of great kind of like point and click adventure games I think would be great in like if we start, because VR is like the new thing. It's gonna be, man, you know, some like the room with VR. That would be awesome. Anytime. I
Like
don't
Tommy
know.
Wiseau's The Room and
No, not that.
the puzzle game. Yes.
I don't know.
And Tommy Wiseau's.
And Tommy Wiseau's The Room.
It's like giving the water bottle right at me. It was incredible.
Actually, that would be amazing. That's my answer. Tommy Wiseau's The Room, the VR experience.
You can be her favorite customer in The Room VR experience.
Choose. Do you want to be either Lisa or Mark?
Either way, press hold trigger to tear him apart. Thank you for the can of worms this question was. Well done. On Kickstarter, 2017. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well. Did Vin Diesel actually roll to Netflix?
Yeah.
Yes. Which let me tell you,
I didn't believe it. I was like, no, he didn't.
dude. Okay, you have to. just I'm gonna give you a little preface here of the pressure that was mounting on this circumstance. I get a call 3 days before filming this thing from Dan Casey at Nerdist. Hey Matt, so we want to have you, if you're available, DM for Vin Diesel on Monday. I'm like, yeah. You know, like, you clear the books for that shit. He's like, okay, so we'll have like a 2-hour adventure, whatever you want to do. Just make sure it's kind of themed after the film, The Witch Hunter, because it's kind of a tie-in promotional thing. I'm like, totally, I can do that. And that was kind of the spark that eventually became The Blood Hunter. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I designed this like 2-hour. I'm like, all right, it's kind of condensed, but you know, I can make it work. I can squeeze a story arc into here, make it fun for him, hopefully. Hope it's okay. Then the day before, I get a call again, like, hey, so we got word back from Vin Diesel's manager. Looks like we're only gonna have an hour with him. So if you can truncate the story a bit to fit with an hour, I'm like, okay, all right. So.
And then you showed up on set.
Then I showed up on set about an hour before he arrived, so we can set up the thing and get everything ready. Like, hey, so he's actually only going to be able for about 20 minutes or so. Can you truncate about 20 minutes? I'm like,
because they were like, well, we have him for an hour, so we need like 10 minutes to get him just through hair and makeup really fast.
Hair?
That gives you... yeah. And then they needed, like, they also wanted 20 minutes of promotional Q&A to like just ask them questions about the movie and stuff, which we begged them to try and scrap it because I was like, guys, I see what you're doing. They still wanted to like have a promotional element for the movie, but I'm like, you will find those exact same questions in every other interview or every other press junket. You can probably go find all those answers on like E-Entertainment. Like, why don't we just play D&D for an hour? So yeah, they ended up cutting it down to like 20-30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was still amazing.
And I squeezed it to about 25 and 30, and they were like, gotta. No!
You can't have it! Vin is mine!
So on top of that pressure, what happens if Vin Diesel, who hasn't played D&D in a little bit, shows up and rolls poorly?
Like 1, 2, 4.
Yeah, I'm like if he just biffs it, this is going to be the worst experience of my entire career. But I have no control over that, and he's here, we're ready to go, yay!
Well, plus on top of that, they kept telling like Laura and Travis and Chobot and like the other people who were in that, being like, okay, Vin is the star here, you know, so just really kind of let him be the hero in the campaign, let him do it, so let him kind of be the leader. So he was like, so Matt gets started, and he's like, what do you guys want to do? And you just see all of their faces go to Vin, and Vin is like, he's like, I haven't played in 15 years. So there was like a good solid like couple minutes there at the top where everyone was like, you talk, not me.
Yeah, he started off a little, you know, just like, oh, probably pretty baked. And pretty sure he was. And good on him. And just kind of like uncomfortable at first because he just was thrown into this chaos, and he just took him a little bit to kind of get going. But as you watch like the video, once he finally clicks back in, especially after that first critical, which the minute he rolled the natural 20, there was such a weight off my shoulders at that point. Like all the tension had been building and building, and what could have been the biggest, like just face plant I've ever made, just went away. Just one critical was all I needed, because watching him go, critical, become like an 8-year-old suddenly, I was like,
Which I'll also never forget the camera guy. I'll never forget this, because he's a big guy. He's a big guy.
Like,
and you get in person, and he's an even bigger guy. And so they had like just like one of our PAs sitting in to kind of get the frame, you know, doing test shots and whatnot. And then Ben comes in and sits down, and he's like in the frame. And the camera guy that was there was like, okay, you know what? Let me back my camera way up. Adjust the focus. Oh man, need a wider frame. He's a big guy. Like, I'll never forget it. Never. Had to pull the sticks back. Anyway, continue.
so the first 20 was a huge weight, and the second 20, at that point I was like, all right, now you're just trying too hard. Thank you.
Check his dice out.
They're my dice. Because they didn't have any, like, who here in this set has dice? I'm like, so yeah, they're my dice, which then I'm like, I'm hold on, you need 20. They're my friend now. So I was so excited that happened because he was supposed to be the hero, but like the hero was also starting off with trepidation. So it was like those are the moments that he needed to kind of get into it and feel good and like, yeah, I'm the master. Show enough, you know, great. I will say, a person of Vin Diesel's international stardom and success as an actor, there is like a 98% chance when you meet them in person that they're going to be a complete asshole. And so I was trying very hard to just keep my reservations and not judge, like just hope for the best. And me and him got a good like 5-6 minutes one-on-one, just prepping for the game and just chatting, getting to know each other a little bit. He is one of the nicest and coolest dudes I've met, and I was so happy to find that out. Once again, being baked probably helped. But no, he like legitimately was just down to earth, all smiles, excited to play, and just wanted to refresh on the rules. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, no, armor class. All right, no, I remember that. Okay, he got into it." And we had a conversation about his background in theater and how he started playing D&D originally, and yeah, I became a fan. Like I was a fan already from like Pitch Black. I wasn't much in the XXX games or Fast and Furious, except for maybe 3, because that was ridiculous.
You shut your mouth about Fast and Furious.
I didn't say I didn't like them. I just said that I've come to enjoy them.
Those are the best
more.
guilty pleasures.
I agree, but it wasn't until I really met him that I had to go back and be like, all right, I'll rewatch all of them. Which, for the record, if you guys have the opportunity to complete tangent, there's Universal Studios Fast and the Furious ride, and on YouTube, some people have hidden cameras in to show you the 3D experience if you haven't done it. Vin Diesel is the cover of everything on that ride. He shows up for like 2 seconds in the ride, and he shows up hanging from a helicopter, and the proportions are so off that Vin Diesel is somehow 14 feet tall, clutching this like itty bitty little helicopter.
Double the size of the copter, like the physics make no sense.
I like to think that was part of his contract. He's like, I won't do this unless I'm bigger than every copter. Like, sure, man. Anyway, tangent over. Good question, thank you.
So my question is, you know, D&D, Matt, has really inspired you as far as voice acting. I know Marisha, you were saying last night for Q, more empathetic. So if you had not found D&D, how would that affect you today?
Life would be like when you're still in Kansas in Wizard of Oz. Kind of like black and white, I imagine. Million faces. I mean, I don't know. That's hard to say. That's kind of one of those weird
Like, do you
multiple
think you'd still
timelines.
be doing whatever it was before that brought you into voice acting, I suppose?
Yeah, what, how do you mean?
Because D&D inspired you,
Yeah.
right, to get to here. So you didn't have that spark, that thing, you know.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
For me, I mean, I probably would have still pushed for a voiceover career at the time because I grew up on cartoons and video games anyway. But a lot of my practice, a lot of my skill set, a lot of those early harness psychoses, I like to refer to them as, where again, I give random non-existent characters names and voices. That all was honed there. So I would have probably been many steps behind as far as the repertoire and the experience. So I would probably not be here at MAGFest, probably wouldn't be having a career probably as extensive as I have. And I would be trying to figure out what the hell to do with my free time. If I didn't discover it in high school, I still would have discovered it later on. It was one of those things that the universe just kept pushing it towards me, like, no, trust me, you want to play this. I was like, I already am, but thank you. But if I never had the experience of tabletop RPGs, I would just feel hollow inside and not know why. I would have this long listless stares at like 2 a.m. out the window and be like, something's just not right. Something's missing.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same kind of thing. I had a heavy background in acting and theater and video games and stuff like that, so I probably would have still ended up in a adjacent path. How is it? Very good. But definitely probably not as rounded and like the way that D&D has definitely helped flesh everything out in a weird way. I don't know, it's weird. Yeah, yes.
Good question. Thank you.
Hi.
My name is Brandon. First
Hi,
of all,
Brandon.
love you guys, love the work that you do, especially Critical Role. Try to watch every Thursday night, but me and a friend of mine are about to totally dedicate ourselves to watching it now. So
Awesome.
we're working to it. But my question for you guys is what's your geekiest guilty pleasure?
Oh. What is your geekiest guilty pleasure, Marisha?
Admit it.
We're not
I'm trying to think of the guilty.
I was one of mine, though it's much more prominent nowadays, is collecting, categorizing, and arranging Dungeons and Dragons miniatures. But thanks to Periscope and our community that has grown, that is no longer much of a secret. In fact, it feeds the issue at hand. But yeah, things that wouldn't be expected. I have a very, very, let me see. I have a very heavy soft spot in my heart for RPG-themed, for lack of a better term, business simulators, like the Rocketeer series, which is where, if others aren't familiar with it, it's kind of like a Japanese fantasy RPG, but instead of being like the heroes, you play as the item shop owner. And you have to get stock in, you have to order things, you actually sponsor adventurers and send them to dungeons to get equipment and materials to bring back so you can make better equipment that you can then sell. And you have to make sure that you arrange and upgrade the displays to look better for the adventurers so they come through, and you have, I love it.
Yeah, oh man. I'm sure I have a ton, I'm just trying to think of them all. I love my label maker. Labeling things is amazing. I'm obsessed with the damn label maker.
It's like the best thing.
Love to label.
It's so cool.
It doesn't exist until it has its actual name on it. That's when I know it's real.
I love it. It's been great.
It's awesome.
I'll leave it at that.
Label maker.
Good morning. My name is Brett.
Brett.
I'm actually here with my wife, that gamer girl.
Oh, Sarah.
Critical Role has been such a big positive force and inspiration for a lot of people, and with the video from the Christmas episode of Talks Mocking, everyone saying what it meant to them, and how for a lot of people it changed them for the better. It changed me for the better, it changed my wife for the better. How has it changed you?
Oh man.
I mean, I talked a little bit last night on, kind of what Keyleth has taught me and whatnot. The definite outreach and, continuing outpouring from the community is definitely amazing. I mean, because it's like the best community that we've ever been a part of. I came from hosting, and once again, like I was saying, I did some, I've been around and been in the web and geek and video game sphere for, about 6, going on 8 years now, somewhere in there. And as we all know, the many communities out there and the web isn't very nice or welcoming. And I specifically, when I was doing hosting and video games, I more or less I stepped back from it there for a while. I'm like I didn't 100% separate myself, but I was just like, why make things for a community that apparently very vocally doesn't want me a part of it? So I was like, never mind, forget it. I would open my mouth about video games and I would just get, fake, bitch, poser, tits or get the fuck out, you name it, I've heard it. So I was like, well then why? Like, what's the point? And then so when we did Critical Role, we had a very similar trepidation. Like it's a very personal thing for us. It's very private. It's kind of burying ourselves in a few ways. So we didn't want to necessarily open up ourselves to that type of ridicule unless it was going to pay off. And we thought, we were like, this could be amazing. Or it could be a giant trash fire of a disaster. We don't know when we were going into the show. Because we were like, there's no way anybody is going to want to sit and watch 3 to 4 hours of people sit around and play D&D live, pretty much nonstop. We were like, there's no one's going to care. And then we were like, if this doesn't work, after like 6 weeks, we'll just stop the show and go back to playing in our kitchens just like we were, and it's really nothing lost and nothing gained. It's fine. And then after 6 weeks, we were like, we kind of had that quick evaluation of like, are we gonna still do this? And by that point, we were already getting outpourings of fan mails, and people, Amazon started selling out of D&D books on Thursday nights. Wonder why? We started like getting these pictures of these families saying that their family nights are playing D&D with everybody, and like so, and then all like the little girls like all the time when I get those like, my daughter's playing a druid because of you, and then that's the stuff that just like, I mean you can't, like he said, the pros far outweigh the cons, and with this community and this show, that was tenfold. It wasn't as much of a balance like some other communities and other web shows and stuff that we've done. This was like, oh, well, I mean, and I get that, we get asked that a lot, because people like to be vocal, and and there's a vocal minority that likes to voice their displeasure with me or the way he does things or whatever, but that, luckily, the positivity that's coming out of this, and there's a far greater vocal majority of people who are just wonderful, amazing people. I mean, like this whole community is like, everyone's so fucking smart, everyone's so damn talented. Like, it's the most amazing grouping of an internet community that I've ever seen, and to be a part of it's amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a very winded answer, but yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, it's interesting for me in particular because as the Dungeon Master of the show, and as a person that creates the story for the players, and for myself primarily, for our own fun, we're not tailoring it for an audience, sorry. I'm making this for my friends and hope they enjoy it, and we put cameras in the room and invited people to watch. And I don't know why that happens to get the attention. I'm learning why it got the attention it did, is because, we fought so hard to keep it honest. And I guess that honesty is what I want to see in the media that I consume, and I want to make sure that we maintain through what we do. But those videos in particular, the Critical Role Meets Me videos, I'm still recovering in a lot of ways from those. And we have many more that came in, and they're redoing an extended cut, we're releasing soon with all the ones that came in late. But it's humbling, it's flabbergasting, and it's amazing to think that something that you just create for you and your friends, and just inviting other people to share into it, would have such a profound effect on people unexpectedly. And on one level, it's an unexpected responsibility in a way. It's like, oh, well, I better not mess this up then. But at the same time, it makes it so much more fulfilling and worthwhile. And I feel like if my time were to end tomorrow, I've done something worthwhile with the time that I had. So I have nothing but you guys to thank for that. We are so appreciative, because we wouldn't have any of this without you guys. You guys are the community. You are the show. That's the thing. Like we jump on for a few hours, every week to create the story, but the community, the critter community, the Team Human, all these people are the life breath that made it a phenomenon and continue to carry it, because that type of mentality goes into your own home games, that goes into your own friendships, that goes into you guys supporting each other and defending each other and forging these bonds that, you know, really, in my opinion, a lot of times only gaming can do. You know, it's part of the reason that MAGFest is so great, is because it's a place where all of us can come here and just be ourselves and party together, and everyone's down to do the same. So that's my long-winded answer.
Thank you guys, thank you for everything.
So this is a voice acting question for both of you guys.
Yes.
Obviously you try to take jobs that you enjoy playing the game, otherwise you wouldn't really be passionate about the position you're taking. Now obviously with a game like Overwatch, or any of the Star Wars series, those are really huge. How much pressure do you have to actually play the game when you're done? And two, is there any games where you've just been like, I'm out, I don't want to have anything to do with this one?
I mean, we don't, companies don't pressure us necessarily to play the games after we've done them. I kind of wish they would, because it'd be kind of fun to watch some of the voice actors who don't play games be like, I don't know what's happening. Which has happened a couple times, because they're starting to get, more and more companies are starting to realize the value in social media, you know, and bringing like their cast on to, you know, the main Twitch, and like they had a bunch of other casts from Final Fantasy 15 on the launch day come and play. So they're starting to do things like that, which is probably going to have the non-gamer actors sweating a little. But there's not a lot of pressure per se. But we just happen to be gamers who also work in the industry, so the games we work on that we legitimately are excited about, yeah, we'll go home and play that shit. But there are
some where we're like, that was nice.
that was a paycheck.
That was a paycheck, yeah. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, we got plenty of those.
We have plenty of those. You know, and then there's a decent amount of time that goes into it. Like, we just do not have time to play all the games that we're in. Which, wow, that sounded douchey. That was douchey. But, yeah, like, just, man, still recovering from that amount of douche that just came out of my mouth.
But no, it gives some perspective to that, though, because there are a lot of good games that we want to play that we're not in, and so it's like, would I rather play this really good, excited? I'm not in the Witcher series, but I will put hundreds of hours into it.
That's true, yeah.
So.
We still play the games we want to play. Like, I've toyed around with Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront. I'm not really necessarily like a huge Battlefront person, but like, you know, Persona and like the other RPGs and stuff, that's way more engaging for me. So yeah, I think it just kind of depends, but yeah, we're fans of the genre first, and we're just glad we get to play in the spirit. So it's kind of awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh my God.
There's literally like for staff and guests, there's a whole room just full of tea and cookies. I did not know this was a thing until somebody's like, there's a tea. I'm like, you know where to find me.
And they call the other place the hospitality suite.
That's the right.
And we have a high tea room.
And it's quiet and the lights are dim and there's actually like cots to sleep on apparently.
What?
Sorry, you guys can't come. Anyway, I just want to say, first of all, obviously I'm pretty sure everybody here is thank you for Critical Role. Like that has I work in I work in a theater as a tech.
Oh, really?
And I've actually been able to convert several of my coworkers and actors to watching Critical Role and then got them to play D&D with me, which is awesome. Also, pray for me because with your custom bard class, I jokingly said, what if we had a high-level all-bard campaign? And they took it seriously.
It's called a bard.
It's
called a party.
Yeah, I did this to me.
This sounds like the greatest idea.
It's its own like RPG system, like 7C style.
It's called a party.
Just a whole world where everyone is magical.
They're a traveling band, and they're touring, and they have roadies, and it's...
Oh my God, it's like Jim and the holograms. Holy shit.
Put it on the internet somewhere. I can't promise. I'm really new at D&D. DMing, so we'll see
Oh,
how
no,
this
wait, even just
goes.
clips or something.
That's the thing, like, I'm planning, but I'm like, how much of this is actually, I have actors and technicians, and I have theater people. I have actual bards, playing bards, that are all bards, and
So meta.
but the best part is I just had the last word, and I can't say why, because several of them might be watching, but the final boss is gonna be fun.
That's awesome.
If they live that long.
Oh, take that, charisma's a dump stat.
That was my question. I thought it was a question. With one of my friends, we were actually talking about what would our stats, if we actually had D&D stats as people, what would they be? Because the running joke is that I have a good friend who has very high intelligence, very high charisma, very little wisdom.
I'm back here, Katie.
Oh, yeah.
You look like three of my other friends. It's like I hang out with actors or something.
So you're asking what
What would your personal dump stat be? What would be your high? Like what sort of, if you had to assign stats for yourself?
Oh, okay. Oh, man.
This was like a 2-hour discussion over drinks at a bar one day for all of us.
No, I would have oh man, I would not have a high dexterity at all. I'm a clumsy oaf of a man, and you can attest to this.
Yeah.
We saw my dexterity check on stage, so it's fine.
I think I'd have a low constitution.
I was gonna say that, yeah.
I hate the cold. I'll like first person.
How are you enjoying the snow?
I could take a punch, but maybe that would be more like AC and strength based. Like it's not the physical damage; it's like everything else. I hate being sick. I hate period cramps. I hate it all. It's the bane of my existence if something's like physically wrong.
I think there was a point in time where I actually made a Marisha character sheet as part of like a Valentine's Day thing.
I've done that with my friends.
Yeah, it's fun. I remember going, no, it'll be fine. She'll understand if I give her a low constitution.
And I think, didn't you put wisdom as my highest?
I put wisdom as one of your highest, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they might, I don't know.
No, you're pretty damn insightful, girl. You read people like that. She saved my ass on many occasions. I will admit I probably have a very low wisdom to a certain extent.
Charisma by like tenfold. My charisma would be like my second lowest stat, I feel like.
I don't think so. I'd probably put Dex or Wisdom as my dumb stats. Or both evenly at like a solid 8.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they're not like broken, but definitely lower than average.
When the save, you can probably get a better save than you do a check, but it'll...
Yeah. I may have feeded into a couple specialties, you know, here and there, but overall... Yeah, that's a great question.
Thank you. That's a good question.
Hello. Hi. Okay, so I don't know. Matt, I watched you, There Will Be Brawl, like all my freshman year in high school. It's really nostalgic to me. I don't think anybody else here has seen it, because I didn't hear you clapping over anything.
For those of you who haven't seen There Will Be Brawl and you want to look at some internet history, it was a web series that I directed back in 2008, 2009. It was a live-action film noir HBO crime drama version of the Nintendo Smash Bros. Universe. And actually the reason I went to my first MAGFest is because we were guests for that web series back in 2009. But yeah, it's ridiculous. You should check it out. So awesome.
And my actual question is... Did you ever, when you first got hired for like Fire Emblem and Smash Bros, did you ever have like, this is sort of fitting, or anything like that?
I did exactly, actually. Working on Fire Emblem was already in its own right pretty cool, but wasn't as strong a connection as Smash Brothers, but it was enough where I'm like, oh shit, it's like kind of sort of Marth-like adjacent, I guess. And then when I got called in to work on Smash Brothers for Crom stuff, they didn't tell me what it was beforehand. It was just an undisclosed Nintendo project. I'm like, all right. And so I get in there and meet the producers, like, all right, cool, so you're working on Smash Brothers Day? I'm like, yeah! Like, you're not playable. I'm like, no. Like, but we make fun of that. Yes! And so I didn't say anything at first, but in my head I was like, oh, this is the coolest kind of full circle from almost killing myself making a web series parodying Smash Brothers to being actually in the game. That was kind of an unexpected. I remember going home being super excited to see you when it happened. But partway through the session, we were on break, and I like couldn't contain myself. And I was talking to the producers. I'm like, this is really cool because like back in the day, I did a web series called That We Brawl, and they're like, oh no, we know, we've seen it. and there was that like brief pause of like, oh god. I did kill off a lot of characters.
So they saw all the stuff with Captain Falcon and Pin, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The DVD.
Oh man. Yeah, there was like, I had 100 flashes of moments in that series. I was like, please don't be offended. Please don't be offended. And they're like, no, we were huge fans of it in college actually, and you know, before we worked at Nintendo, and we didn't know that until we looked up your IMDb, and I was like, holy shit, like, I'm good. I'm good. Like, man, as long as the Nintendo doesn't know that I have like a couple of sex scenes in there, I think we'll be okay. But yeah, no, I was a really kind of fun full circle that I hold as a private badge on my soul. Thank you.
Voice acting question, actually, because at the risk of me sounding a little dense, because I don't really know how this works, when you go into an audition, thank you.
There you go.
When you go into an audition, do they really have a set idea of what they want for a character? Or in other words, do they tailor the character around your voice, or are you expected to tailor your voice around what they want?
When you're pulled in, well, the audition process usually involves the audition sides, or the audition piece with the description of the character going out to a number of agencies. These agencies then disseminate those through their actors based on who they think would be good for which parts. So you get the audition, you either record it from home if you have a home setup, or you record at the actual agency if they have a booth. So most auditions you aren't even interfacing with the actual producers or anyone on that side. You're just kind of throwing it into the ether and crossing your fingers, going, hope they like what I gave them. Then if they like it, they'll have you in for callbacks. And callbacks is kind of like the next round. And that's usually where you get to go and meet at a studio with the actual producers and maybe the director, and they'll come to you and be like, all right, we liked something about your voice for this character. Let's see if we can tweak it with a few of these notes, and here's some new lines, and we'll see how you take direction. And that's where you kind of show what you have. But for the most part, and kind of why Marisha laughed when you mentioned the question, they'll tell you, what we're looking for is you want kind of this type of a Mark Hamill Joker type sound. And you're like, okay, so then
they go like this, they go, well, here's the thing, we want like a kind of Mark Hamill, kind of Joker sound, but you know, with like a little bit of Heath Ledger, and you know, but we want it to be distinguishable away from Mark Hamill, you know, we don't want it to sound like Mark Hamill, you know, so and then, but you know, we don't really also, you know, we don't want Jared Leto, but maybe just, you know how Jared Leto does that weird like nasally thing, so if you could just do that, they'll do that type of, and you're just like.
So I guess when you were doing McCready and Fallout 4, they wanted kind of a Marty McFly vibe who shoots people. Is that
kind of, yeah. That's a wonderful breakdown for him.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, from what you just said, Mark Hamill probably booked it because that's how it works. We don't want to sign Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill books it.
Yeah, like you kind of slowly start to learn that when they say we don't want Rashida Jones, it means they want Rashida Jones, they just can't think of any other examples.
And if they can't afford her, they want somebody to back
sounds
up.
kind of like her, yeah.
But and a lot of times, and this is more often than not, a lot of people don't know really what they want until they hear it. So there is a confidence that comes with that as a performer, where even though they're asking for something, give them something that you feel is good and that feels right for the character and for you as an actor. If it wasn't right for the role, then you just move on to the next one. But more often than not, if you get called in for something, it's because you brought something different that they weren't expecting to, you know, the role that they were asking for, and they were trying to find how they can play with that and bring it to something cool. And many times they'll tell you afterward, yeah, we had no idea what we were looking for until we heard your audition.
Okay.
So take that as a piece of confidence as well.
All right, thank you very much.
No worries. And yeah, for McCready's audition, sorry, I didn't mean to like stop on you guys. No clapping. For McCready as well, it basically said like early 20s, mercenary, upbeat at times, but he's got a chip on his shoulder for about certain things, kind of rough and tumble, but a nice guy, and that was like all they gave me. And so thus became Marty McFly who likes to shoot people. So many people that you Jen.
How's it going, guys?
Hi.
I had a question for Matt.
Yes.
I know you've used the hourglass on Vox Machina before. Have you ever thought about bringing any other alternative mechanics into the game, like, say, subjecting them to a dread tower or something like that?
If I could find a way to work it in where it didn't break the immersion of the narrative, then yes.
Like maybe in a one-off episode? Yeah. Like one of those battle...
A one-off, maybe.
Battle Royale?
Yeah, we haven't had a moment yet to really do a one-off since the story's been kind of driving for a little bit. If I like the idea of introducing mechanics like that. The hourglass is nice because it's kind of on my control. It doesn't require player interaction, and it itself is a visual cue of growing tension. So I love that aspect. And I'm always kind of trying to think of different things that we can incorporate to do certain other things. But like a dread tower would be difficult for our normal game because it involves each player having to go and interact with it per se, or I can do it on my own, I guess. But then it's almost my fault if it falls, which kind of it loses the player agency. So and we're kind of spread out.
What's a dread tower?
It's Jenga.
What is it?
It's a Jenga tower.
Why didn't you just say Jenga tower? That I recognize.
It's scarier if I say dread tower.
Dread
Dread tower.
And if you knock it over, you die.
Yeah.
Why would anyone want this? Why?
Can someone please make the Dread Tower a horror movie? Not the game Dread, just like a Ouija board, like the haunted Dread Tower. Like, is it Jenga? No, we didn't get that license. It's the Dread Tower.
Oh, like Judge Dredd? No, we didn't get that license either. Just the Dread Tower.
Replace the block or die. Imagine how anticlimactic it's gotta be, like,
No, it's exactly like that. You guys actually influenced me to DM my own games. But
nice.
Yeah, but I picked Dread because I thought it would be harder to screw up than running a D&D first thing. And I ran them through a Aliens-themed Dread game.
Nice.
And they ended up dying in the cold vacuum of space. And it was fantastic.
That's a beautiful ending.
It's so perfect.
I love that. Oh, man, Aliens themed Dread games is actually a good idea.
I had sound effects and atmospheric stuff like a smoke machine and everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You got a smoke machine? Yeah. I gotta have my game. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Hi. Hey, this is another voice acting question.
Yes.
So, I guess breaking into any kind of career, it's best to have like a portfolio or a demo reel or something like that. I was wondering what you guys find is like the best kind of thing to incorporate in a demo reel or something like that, just to show your range to different people that you're trying to get a job with.
Honestly, start with showing off your natural voice first. I think so many people want to jump to be like, look at these crazy voices I can do. And the reality is, this crazy voice that you can do is not what, I mean, it's just not in media these days. Like, we're not doing Looney Tunes cartoons anymore, you know. So, for the most part, listen to media around you, and especially if you like, for example, video games or cartoons or whatever, you're kind of wanting to go into, and just hear what other people, or even commercial, like listen to what they're booking right now. And for the most part, it's more natural, more cinematic. Part of the reason I book is because they actually like this lower kind of gravel to my voice that I have, because not a whole lot of females have that, and they like it for video games because it sounds a little bit more gruff and a little bit good for those sultry types, you know. So yeah, just go with your strengths, because honestly, that's where you'll book the most.
Cool.
Yeah, and on that regard too, like you can still do the character voices if you're comfortable in those, but save those till later.
Them too, yeah. Put them at the end, and like don't put on an accent on there unless like you know that accent is fail-safe. Don't do a crazy character unless you know you can hold it for 4 hours, because that's the thing. If you book based on something that they pull in, and then you can't deliver for 4 hours, then, you know,
You've shot your career in the foot, essentially.
yeah, you're in a worser place than you started.
Yeah.
So don't, you know, you don't need to be a jack of all trades, you know, you don't need a Mel Blanc, you know, stick to your strengths.
Awesome.
And then in that same regard too, the accent reason is because when you consider a lot of these casting directors work often with having to cast accented characters and have to cast a lot of actual British people, actual African people, actual Australians, and hearing these actual natural accents as often as they do and having to study them, when someone comes up and it's like, hello, governor, you know, on their audition tape or their demo table, they immediately shut out anything you have in your demo. It's just, they're like, oh, not that guy. So yeah, you definitely want to stick to your strengths in that regard. Also consider too for voiceover. I mean, you think voiceover like cartoons, video games. That is a hard part of the industry to break into, and it is a prominent part of the industry, but there are a lot of other forms of voiceover as well that fill in the gaps. There's radio commercials, there's industrial commercials, there's internal use industrial, there's promo. There are so many other facets of voiceover as well that all together help, and you kind of want to produce work that shows each bit because that gives you the most competitive edge. I have a lot of friends that I've met through my agency who make far more money than I do just doing promo. They don't do anything else
Jealous of our
except for
promo
like,
friends.
you know, this Friday on Fox at 9 p.m. You know, this show is happening. Watch it. And that's their thing, and they have a house 18 times the size of mine. And you're like, cool, bro. I'm in a video game. But yeah, so those are great. Also, if you go to, there's a couple of great websites I recommend. iwanttobeavoiceactor.com, which is run by D. Baker, who's one of the most talented and prolific voice actors in the industry. It's a blog where he answers questions, and talks about getting into the industry, how to prepare your demos, what people are looking for, trends as they come through the industry. Highly recommend you take a look at that.
Sweet.
Awesome. Good question, man.
Oh, but hello, PK. What's your master? I have a question for you.
Yes.
Oh, I'm DMing for my little kiddo in these groups. Oh, and we take them against a bunch of NPCs, and I'm just wondering, how do you handle the initiative and the roles and the order and all that good stuff? Because I'm not really hot with the numbers.
Go, Rogue.
For me, initiative, having everyone shout numbers is way too chaotic for me. That's, if you see me on, I'll ask from top to bottom. I was like, all right, 25 to 20, and anyone says, you know, 23, then I'll just put their name at the top of just a piece of paper. And then I'll go, all right, 20 to 15, and someone says 18, I'll put their name next. If the creature or any enemies that I roll initiative for appear in that order as we go down, then I write them on a column to the right of that. So it almost like staggered, like player, player, enemy, player, player, player. So it's a visual distinction when I know that an enemy's coming up versus a player's turn, but also it gives me a consistent view that's quick to write and shows the actual order as it goes around. Like with layer actions, if there's things that happen on initiative count 20, I'll go ahead and mark that with an asterisk and put a 20 next to it, but it just taking quick notes and asking each player to give me their initiatives within the descending order. That way I don't have to worry about scattering numbers like 14, 12, 2, 6, 18, I don't. You're all going at the same time. So I feel you there, definitely. That's my method. And I'm sure if you look on YouTube, there's probably some great initiative tracker options. Some people prefer to roll before the game. Like actually, everyone rolls an initiative order at the top of the session, and then you keep track of that, and whenever battle happens, you just pull the numbers over and go with that to the moment, so you don't slow down that kind of like, boom, you're in battle moment. So there's a lot of cool methods to it to prevent that type of chaos.
Awesome. Did I have one last question for both of you, since you are nerdy as voice actors. Neverwinter is also one of my favorite games I play for Xbox One. I was wondering if you guys, because you're the king and queen of D&D, if you ever have any plans of doing any voiceovers or any kind of like interactions with that, being that it's an ever-going kind of growing game.
Right.
I don't know. That's kind of up to them. That's the hard part as an actor, is you can't be like, hey guys, I love your game, put me in it and pay me. generally frowned upon in the industry, I've discovered. We'd love to be able to do that, but I like to think as we're more involved in the D&D sphere, that as they work on projects in the future, maybe they'll keep us in mind.
Think of us first, maybe, hopefully.
Somewhere in that mix, I'll be happy.
It's hard too though, because like on the other end of that wall, there's like, you know, they've got 50 people working on creative too, and you know, the casting director or marketing person might not know or give one lick about Critical Role. So,
So if you're working on a D&D video game, suggest us.
well, the voices.
We're available.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Alrighty, we'll try and get through these questions. We got
You got time?
very fast time, so we'll try and get through real quick.
So you guys have like your own range of voices, but has there ever been a character like in a game that you've played that you wish like your voice could fit them so you could act as them? Because like, I don't know, just as an example, my voice is really deep, but if I were to have a dream role, I love Princess Daisy from the Mario series, but I could never get my voice that high. Have you ever like felt that way about a certain character?
Geralt Rivia.
Laura Croft.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's a certain level of gravel and texture to Geralt that I could only imagine with years and years of abusing alcohol.
There's a certain amount of British that comes with Laura Croft that only comes with being years and years of being British. So I probably won't ever be Laura, but it's amazing.
Good question.
I know we're running out of time, so I'm just gonna say you're awesome.
Thank you, Marty.
Yeah, mine was a big question.
Yes. We'll do our best to get through it.
I wrote it down too.
All right, out of time over here.
All right.
Okay, like when you were getting to voiceover at first, like how do you begin to figure out like what is the roadmap look like, or what system sort of like work to sort of do that? Because I'm taking like acting classes and stuff, but beyond that, I'm like, it's like a blurry future.
Short answer is just training and acting classes. You can't be a voice actor until you learn to be an actor first.
There's
So
no roadmap.
there's no roadmap. No roadmap. But those sites like howtobeavoiceactor.com or a voiceover voice actor by Yuri and Tara is a book, is a great stuff, and they can help you there.
Kanji's awesome.
Are we done? Am I gonna be like?
Rapid fire, last 2 minutes. Go, 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 go.
This is too, yeah, well, I know that. So, I'm jumping from theater to voiceover. What, like, from theater training, what's gonna be, like, the best part of theater training to bring with me? Because they're not gonna see my face or my body language, so.
You're ahead of the curve, actually. Theater is actually better for voiceover than coming from an on-camera background, because on-camera people have a harder time visualizing the scene around you, because just keep in mind you're going to be in a black box, so the best thing you can bring over is all of those visualization, those like scene and visualization exercises
all
that they
those
make you
things
do.
that they make you lay in a dark room and
100%,
yeah.
100%. That's all voiceover is pretending you're actually on that battlefield and like looking around and pretending you see things.
Awesome.
Also, I mean, cold reading in general is one of the biggest skill sets for voiceover.
Yeah, practice cold
ever.
reading.
So cold reading is huge.
Awesome.
Yeah. Last question.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi there. So I always listen to your voice in the games like Fallout, Overwatch, Resident Evil, and Fire Emblem. But I'm always wondering, like, how did you get interest in the voice acting business?
Uber fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We grew up, you know, interested in theater, but also grew up huge nerds.
Yeah.
And so as we got older, we were like, how can we marry these together?
Yeah.
How can we just go be friends? And spent many years living impoverished lifestyles to
Eating
get
lots
there.
of ramen. Tiny studio apartments, roach hotels.
You know the deal.
Crashing on friends' couches. We were very, very poor and starving for a very long time. That's kind of the lifestyle you accept. But yeah, we kind of just married all the things we loved, and that was kind of awesome.
So did I.
Kind of worked out.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, guys, thank you so much for your questions. We're gonna run the signing.
Yeah, which is downstairs in the basement.
Oh.
It's full. Wow. So, well,
You made your choice.
I don't have anything to recover from that bad news. That was a bummer. Okay. Thank you guys.